a short man. Curly hair. Pigeon-toed. Thick hair on his body. Blind from his left eye. His eye neither prominent. I am speaking to you. Are you waiting for Dajjal?
Do you think you can stand against Dajjal? Do you think you can defend yourself?
Before you answer, I welcome you to the age of Dajjal, the age of deception of the world. He had a PhD in deception. Yes, you are living in the age of Dajjal, or Antichrist. Unfortunately, you are now a part of his system and his deception. You work for Dajjal, consciously or unconsciously. You make Dajjal strong. You help him to spread his and strengthen this world. You did a great help. Yes, you are the shareholder of Dajjal's system. You work for him, day and night, to make his system more effective.
Let me show you one little sample.
In 2006 worldwide pornography revenues balloons to $97.06 billion. The #1 search term used at search engine sites is the word sex. Users searched for sex more than other terms such as games, travel, music, jokes, cars, weather, health and jobs combined. The study also found that pornography or porno was the 4th most searched for subject. Every 39 minutes, a new pornographic video is being created in the United States. Largest consumer of internet pornography, 12 to 17-year-old age group. Every second $3,075.64 is being spent on pornography. Every second 372 internet users are typing adult search terms into search engines. Every second 28,258 internet users are viewing pornography. One single breath. In 1 second. How many times? How many times you worship him? Consciously or unconsciously, and increase that number. Imran ibn Hussein, Radiyallahu anhu, narrated from the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, those who hear about Dajjal should stay away from him. By Allah, a person will approach him thinking himself to be a believer, but on seeing his amazing feat, he will become his follower.
Talk about what happened in the pornography industry, we have to point to the later months of 1953 when Playboy hit the stands. And what happened is Playboy changed the nature of pornography in the Western world. Prior to Playboy, pornography was the under-the-counter low class. It had an image of being associated with low class males, and any male who wanted to buy it was ashamed about buying it. It was in a brown paper bag. He had to find outlets for it. What Hugh Hefner did in December 1953, when he introduced pornography into the market, was he made it respectable. He gave it an upper middle class aura, and he did this very purposely. When you read about Playboy and you read about Hefner and how he intended to sell Playboy, he sold it as a lifestyle magazine, but as an upper middle class lifestyle magazine. So what he says, for example, in the first Playboy in 1953 was, the Playboy enjoys his cocktails, he likes to listen to music, he likes to talk about philosophy, he likes Picasso. This was a coded way of saying that the new Playboy, the new guy who consumes pornography, is no longer this low-class guy who scurries in dirty passages or dirty alleyways. What he is this upper middle-class male who will consume this magazine, which tells him how to dress, what to wear, what to buy, what to eat, and also the pictures. And the pictures were tagged on in selling it to the reader, because the reader did not want to see himself as a pornography user. The reader wanted to see himself as an upwardly mobile male who would consume this magazine in order to know how to have the Playboy lifestyle. And what happened between 1969 and 1974 was a battle between Playboy and Penthouse of who could produce the most explicit magazine. Penthouse won. Okay? Now, interestingly enough, the end of that sort of war between the two magazines was 1974, the very time that Hustler published their first issue. And it's no accident, because what the battle between Playboy and Penthouse did in terms of opening up the pornography was it pushed the limits of what was acceptable and what was acceptable to be distributed through the mainstream channels. And so you could buy it in kiosks, you could buy it in airports. Prior to the 60s, you couldn't do that, and that's what has made it such a multi-billion-dollar-a-year industry. So Playboy, Penthouse and Hustler, together as a group, were
90% of all neighborhood video stores have a section for soft and hardcore pornography tapes. Cable and satellite deliver pornography directly to the home. A new trend in the adult bookstore industry is the large outlet chain store, usually in the heart of a suburban neighborhood.
Behind me is an 18,000 square foot porn store called Castle Superstore. Castle boasts that it's going to have 500 stores nationwide in the next 5 years, and they say that they're mainstreaming pornography to the public.
The internet has made all types of hardcore and illegal pornography available to anyone with a computer and a modem.
But on the internet, there are places that they can go, and there are groups that they belong to on the internet where they can trade information, they can trade pictures, they can trade tips, and they also form a virtual community, which means that they insulate themselves further from larger societal values. So they can say, you know what, this is good, those guys are all picking on us, this isn't a problem, back in Greece they did this all the time, and that insulates them and protects them. It makes them more difficult to treat, more difficult to break through the denial, and for them to see it's a problem, because they have this community that's supporting their views.
And on the computer you can get a lot of shit.
Pictures of 14-year-olds.
Yeah, oh, definitely even younger.
You know, people ask, why is the internet so powerful around sexuality? And we think that it's something that we call the AAA engine, which has to do with access. It's there 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, whenever you have an itch. Affordability, you know, the internet is such a vast thing that there's supply and demand. You can get all kinds of sexual pictures and all kinds of stuff for free. And the third A is anonymity. So people engage in all kinds of things that they wouldn't do anywhere else. They wouldn't do these behaviors, they wouldn't engage in these behaviors anywhere else. And when you engage in it enough times, there's a concern about whether it desensitizes you to it, and whether you're more likely to then take it offline and engage in it offline.
What's on the internet? What's available?
It's everything, dude, from child pornography to straight up whips, to flamethrowers, bestiality. It's out there, it's out there.
Have you seen child pornography?
Yeah, you can say that.
You know, again, kids are on the internet and they go everywhere, and whatever software protection you have on your computer, they defeat it. They're the experts on internet and software, so whatever you try to do, they defeat. And they go everywhere, and they see bestiality, they see rape, they see sexual violence, and again, I think it can confuse them.
Oh my gosh, look at those girls!
And I think it can hurt their attitudes about sexuality.
When we hear the word addiction, we usually associate it with a substance like alcohol or drugs. Yet pornography, even though not an ingestible substance, like cocaine, seems to be used by many people in a compulsive drug-like way. In fact, many pornography addicts exhibit the same symptoms as drug addicts, such as tolerance, the need to have a harder and harder dose, dependence, becoming dependent on your drug of choice, and withdrawal, the feeling of physical pain when you are without the drug. All of these painful symptoms seem to promote out-of-control behavior as the addict tries to manage his addiction. Let's go back into the brain to see how a physical addiction to pornography can be created by the overstimulation of these neurochemicals. The brain has a built-in neurochemical feedback mechanism that works against dramatic mood alterations. As soon as a mood alteration takes place, the brain goes into action to stabilize the mood and restore baseline neurotransmission. Over time, as the user continues to indulge in the pornography experience, the brain reacts by producing less and deactivating more neurotransmitters. The delicate level of neurotransmission that produces a normal mood is now altered and has become dysfunctional. It's this dysfunctional level of neurotransmission that causes the uncomfortable symptoms of physical addiction: tolerance, dependence, and withdrawal. Because there are now less neurotransmitters in the system, it takes a harder, perhaps more violent form of pornography to achieve the same sexual arousal. Just like a drug addict needing a larger dose to get high. This is tolerance. Because the dysfunctional rate of neurotransmission is uncomfortable, the addict uses pornography to bring it to a normal level. He is dependent on it just like an addict becomes dependent on a drug. If he tries to quit using pornography, he will experience actual physical discomfort. Again, just like a drug addict. This is withdrawal.